Hey guys, Phil Baumhardt here. So for today's video, I've got a commission to do a Serbian cleaver. So this particular guy is a friend of mine. He actually gave me the leaf spring you saw me grinding on there. So I kind of cut it down to a manageable section, which is really thick, definitely much thicker material than what you would need for a kind of a normal Serbian cleaver. But he's looking for this to be kind of a deer processing tool, so something that can de-limb and behead deer carcasses, so it'll definitely be able to do that. Just for the general point, cutting off at this angle, you know, they have the holes going through there as far as holding the couple of springs together, so we kind of got to cut it at an angle anyways. Kind of sets us up for that blade shape. They definitely have a little bit more of an arc to this part here, so I'm going to start by forging down this, thinning this down, and then I'll kind of drive the point forward, and then I'll go in and start working on an edge bevel. I'm going to be going for a 6 to 7 inch long blade, maybe a little bit longer, we'll see. And I'll probably end up cutting the handle, the shape out of this. This would be a lot of material to kind of try to forge into shape for a handle. So maybe not a lot of shaping with the hammer, but what shaping we do is going to be quite a bit of work. So we'll get this in the forge and see what I can make. So as of right now, the spine here is just a little too gradual of a curve. It should drop off a little bit more abruptly for a Serbian cleaver, so I'll probably end up having to do that on the grinder. I was trying a little bit of upsetting, hammer it this way, but I mean, such a big piece of steel, there's no way that that's going to work, but it looks like they kind of are flattened off on the top here, so I'll do a bit more hammering on this spine to kind of mushroom this the very top of the spine over a bit. It should start to curve this way, and then when I kind of finish putting in the edge bevels and thinning this down, it should kind of adjust back up and give me a little bit of a curve this way. So we'll see how that goes. I want to try to forge as much of this as possible, but quite a bit is probably going to end up having to be on the grinder.
Well, looks like I got the steeper angle I wanted by belting the point off, so that's good. Alright, so we got the I actually got the edge pretty thin, at least right in here. I think I'm just going to use the grinder to just kind of take this little corner off. That's about all I'd really be doing. I guess I could try forging it in, but I guess maybe I'll see if I can drop this tip down while I'm at it. Alright, that's better. I guess we'll take that as a happy little accident. The initial idea was something like 6 or 7 inches long. This one's probably going to have more of a 8-inch long blade. Yeah, I'm at about an 8-inch blade right now. So for a cleaver, I think that's definitely usable. Maybe go for a 9-inch blade. I think I'll have to really draw out a lot of this material here. So for the handle, instead of trying to forge all this material down, I've done that in the past, but it's just it's a lot to try to do that. So I'm going to take an angle grinder, basically cut this out. As you can see, probably just do a straight line, and I'll do a little bit of shaping with the hammer. Give it see if I can give it some contours from forging. Probably do a little bit of tweaking and straightening on the blade. We're pretty much good to go there. I think it's long enough now. So we'll just get that handle in. Alright, so here's how the cleaver's looking. It's actually feels pretty good in the hand. You know, for a cleaver, it's got a lot of mass, so it definitely has a lot of chopping power there. Got a little bit of a sway back going on, which I don't mind for a cleaver, to be honest. For the Serbian cleavers, they kind of, it's definitely a lot more straight and kind of comes down to a hump. So I might try to I'll do a little bit of hammering here just to kind of bring that out just a little bit. And then most of what I want to do is going to be in the handle. Maybe put a little bit of a contour in here, open this up a little bit, just give it some shape. Even though on a lot of the examples I've seen, they're just sort of straight and rounded off, just super simple. So I'm going to do a little bit extra on the handle, and we'll call it good. Just trying to round out this angle iron, trying to round out this cut with the angle grinder, give it a little bit of curve and shape, some life if you will, just so it doesn't have that kind of, you know, harsh edge. Needs to be a little hotter. Yeah, it's got to be hotter. There's still quite a bit of material there. I'll probably thin that down a bit as well, just so that when I put the handle scales on there, it's not, you know, entirely colossal. Okay, so it's definitely looking like a better kind of kitchen knife type shape. A little bit of shape and contours in there. Probably easier just kneading it up with the grinder. But to be honest, I'm kind of sick of tinkering around with this. So basically, I'm just going to worry right now about getting it all straightened out. And so we'll just get it on the grinder and go from there. I'll probably have to anneal the handle for drilling the pinholes in. But other than that, I think we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so here's what our cleaver's looking like. I'm actually pretty happy with the shape. Shouldn't be too bad to grind. Still super thick on the spine there, as you see, but that's kind of one of the trademarks of the Serbian cleaver. But you know, it's heavy, but it actually feels pretty good in hand, even right now. It'll be a good cleaver. It'll be you know, the weight of the knife should be able to do most of the work. So let's get this cleaned up and see what we can do. Alright, well, we really made the sparks fly on this one. It's finally cool enough to touch. It's still warm to hang on to, but I'm happy with the way this is shaping up. So that was just a 36 grit ceramic belt by Red Label Abrasives. Really did a good job there. So I thinned down the tang a little bit more. There's a little bit of a step down there. Handle slabs will fit into there, right up to there. Still a pretty big handle. I put kind of cleaned up the end of the pommel here. This kind of bird's head shape. So nice, comfortable feel. Might deepen that a little bit, but overall I think we're pretty much good to go. Blade end is nice and thin there. I'm going to leave it right there for now, just for quenching and tempering. I don't want to get it too thin there, so I might leave it at a 36 grit, maybe a 60, but this is going to be a big kind of rough looking knife, so I'm going to leave the grind rough. I'm not going to worry about giving it a nice shiny polish. I'm going to leave this top half, the fire scale here, and that's a common on a lot of internet examples I'm seeing as well. So big heavy knife, but it's a cleaver, not a weapon, and it'll definitely cleave. Okay, so for the handle of the cleaver here, the customer actually gave me some Tennessee walnut. This is grown on his property down there, or his family property there, so it's got kind of a personal significance to him. So he asked me to make the handle out of this stuff. So you can see it's some nice dark wood here. So I'm going to split this down and we'll get some rough handle blanks set up. And you can kind of see kind of the delineation between the lighter wood where the bark is, and then where it gets darker towards the heartwood. So this heartwood is what we want to use for the handle. So we'll cut off that outer layer first. Go from there. This is still nice wood, so I save the scraps because you never know. You know, maybe I'll make like a knife stand or something else out of it. Try not to throw anything out. Okay, so we'll got that little indent right there for the handle, so we'll butt that up against the wood and then just trace out our little handle there. There we go. And also go ahead and label this. So we'll call this port. I've been using kind of ship terms because, you know, if you look at a knife, I always know which side is, you know, I don't have to worry about left or right. You know, this would be the you know, if this was a ship, this would be the bow, this would be the stern. So this is always port, this is always starboard. Just sort of a fun little thing I do. You know, as long as you can tell them apart, that's all that matters. And we'll just split this part off and try to give it enough headway that we don't split into our actual handle material. Yeah, so he wants to split to that outside, so we're good. Good there. And we can just saw off this remaining portion. Go from there. Okay, so we got the tang clamped to the wood here, so we'll drill out 2 of the pins. Put the pins in place and drill out that final hole. Okay, so now that we got the 3 holes drilled, it should line up the same way every time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this flush. This is just done with the axe as of now, so it's obviously not perfect. So I'm going to try to get this ground flush, and we can also take off some of the material here. But I think I'm going to try to do a little bit of contouring on the round contact wheel. That way we can give the handle some shape, just so it's not just slab sides. But we want to get this as flat as we can, as flush as we can. Okay, so we've got the blade quenched and tempered. I just left the black from the quench on there because I think that'll be a good look. It kind of came out real uniform. This is all going to get ground back. And then I kind of ground down the handle area just a little bit to get to the white metal, so to give the epoxy something to stick to. So we'll glue this up. And then once it's set, we'll finish sanding our handle and put some stain on there. So this last belt was a 120 grit. I took the platen off. It's basically just a slack belt, and so that's basically our edge. We've got a wire edge here going, and I was just kind of flipping it back and forth on that 120 grit. So this is about the time where I switch over to the work sharp just to put the final edge on there. So I'm happy with the way the edge is set up right now. So we're going to go back to the handle, and we'll just do all of our hand sanding and stuff like that before I make this thing super sharp. We'll let this stain dry, and then I'll put a coat of linseed oil on there, and then I'll probably hit this exposed steel with some cold blue, just darken it up, make it match. And then places like this where the grinder caught the bevel there, I'm just going to blue that up a bit, and she should be good to go. Alright, well, here's a look at the finished cleaver. As always, I'm really happy with the way this one came out. I know I say that all the time, but it's always true. So this is kind of a challenging build just by nature of you know, the sheer size of the spring and trying to work with that much material. But I'm happy with the end result, and I think my buddy's really going to like this knife, and I think it's going to do what he needs and wants it to do. As we went through the build video, you probably noticed that we went through some seasonal changes. I've been real busy with second profession, which is fiction filmmaking. I'm a on-set lighting technician, aka gaffer. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me and sticking with the channel. Did some cutting tests with this blade. I chopped a coconut in half with ease, and also did a pineapple slice, really just for fun. It's kind of not really its intended use. You know, it's not a fighting knife, of course, but I mean, just the sheer mass of it it really just sort of gave those things a run for their money. This November, I was fortunate enough to harvest a deer, and so I kind of used this in the meat processing, slicing up some of the steaks. Worked really good for that. And I also used it to remove the head of the deer, so chopping through the neck muscles and the bone. It performed that admirably. Was no edge damage. I also did also hacked through a set of deer ribs with this thing. My suspension method broke on it, and but this thing almost sliced all the way through the ribs. Kind of got stopped by the bone, but there was no damage to the edge, so that means I had a good heat treatment. And I mean, the 5160 is some tough steel that these leaf springs usually are. But really comfortable handle. I'm happy with the way that the handle came out. It's a little bit of a subtle shape in there and a gradual taper, but in this kind of bird's head type shape, just helps lock in your hand, and especially when hefting this much mass, it's just a nice comfortable handle. So it is a heavy knife. It's 2 pounds, 14 ounces. So there is a little bit of fatigue when when using it, doing a lot of slicing. But I mean, just for smaller things, the sheer mass alone is going to take care of it for you. So let's take a quick look at the thickness of the spine. Yeah, it's an 11 millimeter thick blade there. So this thing will probably go through whatever you want it to go through. So, but it's just meant to be kind of a fun novelty knife that my friend wanted to, that is up to some heavy duty cutting and chopping tasks. So it's going to do that admirably. And if he wants to use it in the kitchen, for more normal cutting things, it's going to work just fine for that too. So here's a look at the sheath I made for it. Just a simple leather scabbard. This style is common to see on Serbian cleavers that you'll see on the internet, but fits in there nice and snug, doesn't fall out, all that good stuff, and just complements the rugged nature of the knife real well. That is in keeping with my style. So I'm gonna get this knife out to him soon. Just wanted to show you guys. Hopefully he gets a lot of many years of enjoyment and use out of this. So I appreciate you guys sticking around, watching the channel. You can always follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Tend to post there a little bit more frequently than YouTube nowadays. I might have long absences while I'm working on movie sets, but I'm always going to keep making blades. So as always, thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you watching, and until next time, be more Viking.